Hey bullet journalist! Welcome to this week's video where we're gonna talk about the different header and title ideas that you can use for the different dates that you write in your bullet journal. We have over 35 beginner-friendly ideas, so let's jump right into it. So first, let's start off with some simple variations, and I really love these ones because they can really fit into any bullet journal theme. They're super customizable, they're very simple, and they don't take up too much space. So the first thing that you can do is that you can add a pop of color to the date itself and make it a little bit bigger. I find that this combination is really aesthetic and pleasing to the eyes because you have some contrast going on with the different colors, and you also have some contrast with the big size in comparison to the smaller font text right next to it. And some other simple variations that you can try is you can also add some colored shapes. So whether you want to add a really cute little bubble circle, or you can also do a little box with a little colored shadow as well. You can also create some visual contrast with the colors by adding a line. Whether you want to add the line vertically or horizontally, it can really add a really nice contrast and add a lot more emphasis to the dates in your bullet journal. And you can also create so many different variations and combinations by emphasizing different parts of the dates. So for example, you can either emphasize the date and make it the numbers bigger, or you can even emphasize the first letter of the day of the week or the day of the month. We can also play around with different lines, so whether you want to create a line above and below the date to create a little border around it. You can also create a really unique effect by having some of your letters go over the line and have some letters go behind the line. This gives a really interesting look and it creates a really nice contrast as well. Another really fun idea is to use a thin washi tape, and then you're going to use your brush pen and use that to even write over the washi tape. And then when you peel off the washi tape, it's going to reveal a little space in the middle, and you can use that to write your dates as well. Now, if you want to include a little bit more color into your headers, then we can also play around with different boxes. So something that you can do is have the date in the middle, and you can create a box on each side. You can also write a date on top and then use a colored box to really complete the date and add additional details at the bottom. Or you can include everything into one box and use a color to add a shadow to the box as well. Now, if you want to emphasize your dates and headers even more, you can kind of use the boxes to create a really nice frame around the date. So as you can see here, you can either add some color outside of the boxes and outside of the frame, or you can create an even bigger rectangle and include some of your colors inside the rectangle or inside the frame as well. You can also color the frames instead. It's really up to you. There's so many different combinations that you can create with all of these ideas. Another super fun title idea that you could try for your bullet journal is going to be to leverage some simple shapes. So what you can do is create a little box for each letter, or you can also play around with different circles. You can also add some variation by alternating the colors or creating a zigzag effect with the alignment. And another really fun idea is to also have one of those shapes hanging onto a line. So in this example, it's as if you have little Polaroid photos with different letters, and you can also add some color into it as well. You could also have some triangles and also mix and match the sides, so you can have the alternating triangles between right side up and upside down, and this is also gonna create a really unique look for your header. Now, the next set of title ideas for your bullet journal that I got is going to be inspired by a calendar. So when I think of a calendar, I'm going to think about different types of paper. So one of the first ideas could be something that looks like a little Polaroid for a single date. And you could also get a completely different look by just playing around with how the paper of the calendar looks like. So in the second example, you could see that the bottom left has a little bit of a fold to it. And then in the third example, you could see it kind of looks like there is a stack of paper or pages behind the calendar as well. And then to add a pop of color, you can make it look as if there's a little washi tape that is holding the calendar together. And as you can see, sometimes by making a small adjustment, it can already create a completely different look. I know that sometimes I get into this trap where I feel like I'm stuck in my bullet journal. I feel like I have absolutely no ideas, and I feel like I'm spending so much time trying to create something that is completely brand new. But at the end of the day, sometimes a small variation or a small tweak is all you really need to give your bullet journal a really fresh feel to it. So if ever you feel stuck in your bullet journal and you feel like you're at a loss of ideas, instead of putting all of this pressure on yourself to try to think of a new complicated design, try to think of some small tweaks that you could try in your bullet journal, whether it's changing up the colors, trying to add some new shapes, or even playing around with the new lettering style. You might be surprised with the new combinations that you were able to create for yourself, and sometimes these small variations is what you need to get your creative juices flowing again so that you can really create a design that you're happy with. And let me know in the comments down below if you commonly run out of ideas for your bullet journal and what you like to do when you feel like you need some inspiration. Now, some other fun ways that we can use to put the dates in our bullet journal is to also play around with different banner designs. And there's so many different ways that you could customize the banner to create a completely different look. For example, you can play around with the size of the banner itself. So whether you want it to be really wide, really slim, or really long, that's something that you can play around with. You can also play around with the different point of the banner. So if you want the edge to be very pointy, or if you want them to have this kind of V-shaped look, you could try that as well. You can also play around with how the banner is connected. So for example, you can make it hanging off from the top or from the side like a little flag. You can also create a really long banner where you can write everything inside the banner itself, or you can even make a little banner for each individual letter for the date in your bullet journal. And of course, you can also have so much fun by playing with the different colors for the banner. So whether you want to just use one simple color for the whole banner, or you can even try alternating colors, or even create a rainbow look by having each banner have a different color. And you can even have everything in a curved line instead of a straight line, so there's just so many different combinations and variations you could try. Now, the next set of title ideas that you can use for the dates in your bullet journal are actually some of my favorites. I find them to be really fun, especially when I'm in the mood to doodle a little bit more. I really like to play around with some really fun shapes to go around the date in the bullet journal. So for example, you can create a really fun shape that kind of looks like a little shopping tag. You can also play around with different shapes of speech bubbles, and you can even play with the different sign options and add a little bit of sparkles and extra doodles along the sides. Or you can even use this really unique scroll idea, and it's just a super fun way to add a little bit more emphasis and uniqueness to your bullet journal spreads. And another super quick way for you to add some decorations to the dates in your bullet journal is to also play around with your brush pens and add some more color to it. So something that you could try is add a squiggly line above and below your lettering and add some additional doodles on the side. You can also use your brush pen to do the lettering itself, and because your brush pen might be a bit thicker than your pen, it's gonna give some contrast by having a bolder lettering style, and it can also give some additional contrast because of the different color between the brush pen and your regular black pen as well. And of course, you can also use your thinner pen to just add some additional details, doodles, and touches at the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 35 different title ideas. Leave me a blue heart in the comments down below if you made it till the end, and watch this video next so you can include these titles in your next weekly spread.